I've been told by everybody up on this roof that they're all off the roof. I am on the roof of exposure 4. Got fire through the roof of the fire building in the entire rear section.
Now remember, given the payday, has he been accounted for? Okay.
610B. That was the Mayday. 610B.
I'm here. We got a fire. 1.5-story single-family dwelling. Fire shown from the second floor. Give me a second alarm on this.
Coming up to the top floor. I got people hanging out the top floor windows with a baby.
Commercial building. A lot of fire, a lot of smoke. Go ahead and strike a third alarm on my orders on this.
Got people on the front fire escape here with windows vented below them. We need somebody up there.
Yeah, let them know we got a job. I'm pulling up now. Second alarm, I got a 1-story single-family frame. Heavy fire showing from the attic.
So we're using all hands. We got one line stretch, fire on the 4th floor. Second line being stretched. Primary searches are underway.
Hey, welcome back to Old School. I'm Rick Lasky along with my buddy John Salka. And my buddy John Salka, we just made it through. In fact, we're still kind of defrosting here. Buddy, we got the weather you get or that they get in Chicago down here in Texas, buddy. I mean, I know the whole country pretty much went through a cold spell here, but down the south, we got our ass handed to us in Texas. And all kidding aside with the north versus south when it comes to weather and south versus north and all that, a lot of snow and it was cold, buddy.
Wah, 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 wah.
Well,
but listen, I know it was real because especially, you know what, I feel bad, not about the snow or the cold, but about the electricity being out. That's tough. You know, in any season, any time of day or night, you lose electricity for a couple of days. That's tough on families and kids and eating and air conditioning and heating and man, oh man, that's tough. But I understand it because the great nation of Texas has its own special, electrical circuit there, not connected to or run by the federal government like every other state has. But, that's how things go.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people got hurt over this. Tons, John. A couple million people without electricity and then frozen pipes. And, it's one thing to not have electricity, but, you're talking different installations and all kinds of things when it comes to water pipes and so on and so forth here. So it's going to be more devastating. And there's those people that died from exposure and not having the power to keep their houses warm and the shelters. And, there were some emergency management coordinators, I think, did a great job. The Denton County area and the Dallas-Fort Metroplex area, Louisville, they had shelters open, they had churches open. It is what it is. When the power company says you're going to have rolling blackouts for 15 minutes and then you have them for 3 days in some places, it changes. But, some of the emergency management corners did, in fact, the majority of them did a wonderful job. This is what they prepare for, obviously. And then there was a couple, I think, that dropped the ball, that didn't pay attention, didn't heed the warnings. And, I think they'll have some questions to answer when this is all over with. But we had some good fires, Wichita West, buddy. We went to assist Iowa Park at a nursing home fire. Hats off to the Iowa Park fire department. Good fire, John, in a nursing home and in a true nursing home for those of us. I'll just say for our listeners, assisted living versus nursing home. I mean, I know you can have challenges in assisted living centers as well, but nursing homes with a lot of non-ambulatory residents and so on and so forth. A lot of challenges. It was pretty cold, John. Freezing.
Right, you had that terrible weather and delays in getting apparatus to the scene because of it. Even, in your West Fire Department there, it's volunteers. They still got to get to the station just like, like other places.
Oh, exactly. But like I said, hats off to Iowa Park. They did a great job. Coordinated. They had a school right across the street, got the residents evacuated pretty quick. A lot of fire in the attic. And, we went to help another community holiday with a pretty much fully involved residents. So we were busy and trying to keep everything from not freezing. And now that storm, I think, is headed to you, right? Or it's already there.
Say again?
That storm.
Oh, yeah. The snow we're getting today, and it is snowing right now. Cat like raining cats and dogs, snowing cats and dogs. It's been on and off and mostly on for over 24 hours now. So I got up this morning. I plowed about 6 inches, but I think it snowed another inch or two since I put the plow away, which I'm going to have to go out again. I try not to do it too often if I don't have to for an inch or two at a time. I wait till it. At this point, I won't even plow again today. I don't think, unless it keeps really snowing. They said it's going to stop at 6. If it stops at 6, I'll go out at 6:30 and plow. Be done for the day, and that'll be that. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, let me just say one more time, hats off to those all across the South that did a great job handling the weather. But I guess my question for you, buddy, is, and I was put in a little bit of a situation. You and I have talked about this bunches of times in classes, on this show, on our other show, about tools and being prepared, and the whole get ready and be ready and things like that. I had two situations recently, John, where I was presented with a little bit of a challenge. I'll just say, to keep my mouth shut, if you will. And that can be hard sometimes. But
I would have failed that one. Yep.
One of them was I was at a fire, and fire's done. We're doing some overhaul, and we were doing some work with some tools, and I had a nozzle, and I left my hook with the driver of a ladder truck to say, I will leave this here because I got to drag this hose up here, so on and so forth. He said, yeah, I got it. And when it came time to do a little work on the eaves, I said, I told the firefighter I was with, I said, hey, let me go get the hook. I'll be right back. And there was a chief that handed me someone else's hook, and he says, here you go. I said, you know what? Let me go get mine. That way I'm not using somebody else's tool, and they're looking for it. And he goes, well, this ain't Chicago. We this is Texas. We have manners here, and we're polite, and we share. And I'm looking at him, John, and I'm like, really, dude, you're really going down that path? And he finishes his insult by saying, well, we don't have the cold down here. Ha ha ha. This is before the weather we got. And I'm like, okay, I understand. And I'm like, okay. So that was the first one. I kept my mouth shut. So, and I guess, let me ask you this before I describe this next situation. Again, I've mentioned this several times for our listeners. John, you're the chief of your volunteer fire department. Let's go back to when you're a firefighter there, or when you change roles again in the future, how that, the cycles work. You're a firefighter. You're at a mutual aid fire. You're standing there. Now you get off the rig. You know what tools to bring with you. You know what tools not to bring with you. These guys that bring I call them the Fisher Price tools, the little child toys. Anyway, so you're standing there, and you're waiting to be put to work. You got your captain standing next to you, another firefighter. You're standing there, and a firefighter from another department, a city department, they're doing some work, and obviously they didn't bring the right tools with them. And some young firefighter comes walking over to you and says, "Hey, give me your hook." I guess my question to you is, what is your reply and why? Before I say what I did.
Sure. All right. I can't say my reply. I can't say my reply. I can't say it because there's FCC or somebody's going to put us in jail if I say what I would say. Okay. But the answer to that is, are you kidding? No. What do you need done? Generally that's what people say. What do you need? I'll tell my story later about Richie Bottom, one of my 7-11 truck. But the point is, no. The problem is where you were, or where those folks were, that wasn't the, I don't know what you want to call it, the tradition. That wasn't the tradition there. You wouldn't even ask somebody for their tool in New York City or on Long Island or up here in Orange County. You wouldn't even ask somebody for your tool. You'd say, hey, buddy, come here, pull that down for me. You'd just go tell them what to do. Or you'd ask them what to do rather than say, give me your hook, or give me your Halligan.
Well, and I guess, we were talking about the traditions and stuff and so on and so forth. I guess there's different people that feel differently about it, John, but I guess I was always raised, in the Chicagoland area, the South Side of Chicago, that you bring your tools with you. And like you said, John, you do the whole, if I'm standing there and somebody says, hey, pass me your hook, and the question that, would come out of my mouth is just like you said, okay, what do you need done? No, just hand me your hook. No. What do you need done? And let me explain so I'm standing there with my captain and a firefighter. Now I know, in the eyes of some big city firefighters, when you're a lowly volunteer firefighter standing there,
Easy on the big city firefighters now. Easy.
So, well, this definitely wasn't a big, they think they're big city firefighters, but he wasn't. But anyway, so I'm standing there, John, and this young guy, I'm watching him now. And I leaned over to one of our firefighters and I said, see, not one person brought a hook long enough to do any work. They all brought the little ones, which they had to get ladders to get up to what they were going to pull. And that's a story for another, topic or another show that we talked, another day. But I before we left the rig, I said, I'm grabbing 2 hooks. I'm grabbing the 6-footer and I'm bringing the long one because I'm looking at this building. If we're going to pull anything, we're going to need it, for up high. So I'm standing there and I see they're not getting anywhere. And I see this young firefighter turns and he sees me, comes walking all the way across. He goes, hey, give me your hook. And I said, no. And he goes, really? I go, yes, really. I go, what do you need done? And he goes, I need this pulled over here. And I go, okay, show me. And I'll look to my captain, I'm like, and my whole point, I guess I was like, where I have issues with it, John, is, so I give my tool away, number one. I give him my hook, and then the incident commander puts us to work in another part of the building. Now what, I have to walk all the way over across the parking lot, get my hook from this guy to go do my job, instead of if he had just brought the right shit in the first place. And my first thought was, without getting lippy, because you and I, we talk about all the time. Everybody's got an ego, but don't confuse confidence with for cockiness. My first thought was, and you and I have jokingly said this before. I got more time waiting for water than you got in the firehouse, than you got in the fire, to this young. And he looks at me, and I'm like, I was just astounded. The way he said that was like I owed him something, and I'm like, and I'll give you an example. It wasn't like he came up and said, hey brother, can you let me use your? Or I'm standing next to him, and we're working together. We're working on the same side of the building, and he goes, hey, he's trying to get up. Hey, let me hit it for a sec. Right, like. Kind of we're partners working, you know what I'm saying? But I did I take that wrong? I know I've been doing this 40 plus years and I don't give up my tools to nobody. I don't give the nozzle up to anybody. I don't give my tools up.
I fully agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And just from the way it was said, the way you relayed the story, obviously there was also a piece of this is his attitude. A piece of this is his phraseology. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a hook. Like, oh yes, almighty King Kuba, here's the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like you owed him something, right?
Yeah.
So you think it'd been nicer, like you said, if he came over and said, hey brother, give me the hook, or come on over and pull something for me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why somebody would talk like that, number one. Number two, the minute you said no, should have been like, all right then, come here, get this done for me. And it shouldn't even, I can't even understand really? Like he was questioning your refusal too, which is a little odd, And my third point is, where's his tool? If he's coming over to get your tool, where's his tool? You know what I'm saying? Another guy without a tool.
Well, and that was my thing was, and just out of habit, I've always been that way. And just these fires we went to recently, I had Joe Dillon. I taught Joe grew up, lives near you. He's in the Air Force. So he's a good young firefighter. He's a full-time at the Air Force, Valley out there near you, Rockland County, brothers, dads, everybody. And he knows that we talk ahead of time. What you grabbing? We're pulling up. I'm driving. I'll grab the irons. Okay, I'm gonna grab both hooks actually. The 6-footer. I'm gonna bring the long one just for yucks. And John, when you walk up and I've talked about this before, and you're watching crews get off rigs with nothing in their hands. I'm watching guys get off of apparatus with nothing in their hands, or as they walk up, they go to the rigs that are in front that already let out, stretched out. They start going through compartments. They start looking for tools on there. And I'm like, why didn't you bring your own stuff with you? First off. Right. Secondly, I don't want to use somebody else's hook. I don't know, I'm more comfortable with the one I'm using. And I'm not trying to make a big deal out of nothing here or a big deal out of something small. It's the whole ownership thing. It's the whole, are you ready? And I actually turned around and I looked at one of my guys and I said, the freaking arrogance, just, that, I guess that's what gets me. Instead of you claim to be a brother or a firefighter or, part of this family and all this stuff. You don't treat people like crap and claim to be part of that family. And I just sat there and then I watched this guy work, John. I watched this guy work And there were the rest of my answers. So I'm watching him use a hook and I'm going, well, here's another guy that obviously didn't spend any time in the academy when he was, in the academy learning how to use a hook, because you know what I'm saying? When you watch somebody with tools, you're going, oh, obviously nobody's taught them how to do this stuff.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, this fire department, they have some really good firefighters. They have some really good firefighters and some really good officers. This is like the second time in a row I've seen something like this, but maybe it was the same crew. I don't know. But that's all. I want to get your read on that, because I've always taught my guys, John, you don't give up your tools. You get off the rig. You're what's the phrase you use? We say it all the time. You don't have to.
You don't have to get ready if you stay ready, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, and I know. Let's not talk about the Bronx. I know how. Well, let me ask you this. So 45.
Listen, it's not a Bronx thing. It's not an FDNY thing.
No.
You talk to guys from Chicago. You talk to guys from, I can't imagine that any career fire department of any size doesn't have tool assignments and job assignments to some degree. All right. That's number one. Number two, there's nothing you can do in the fire department. If you arrive at a scene of any kind of emergency on an engine or a truck or a rescue, you must have something in your hand. Otherwise, all the people on the side of the road would just be running out and extricating people from cars or putting fires out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we come with gear and tools because the gear and tools are necessary. So it's not like a second thought. Oh, let me grab a tool just in case I need one. No, when you step off the rig, the first step, the second thing you do should either open a compartment or turn back around and reach into the one you just got out of, or maybe just get off with the tools right from where you were sitting. But the whole point is you are nothing. You don't even exist at the fire or emergency scene unless you have something in your hand, whether it's a hose line, whether it's, a small hand tool or a set of irons or a Hurst tool or whatever it is. That's what firefighters do. Now, I had some issues in a volunteer fire department when I was chief, recently even. Young new guys, they take their firefighter one, they take all their classes and stuff, but some of the stuff they just don't teach them. Some of the guys do, because some of the guys are good firefighters that are broken in, and they're instructors too. But some of them aren't. Some of them are just decent instructors, but they don't have any real, history or traditions in the firehouse. But my point is, I told guys, I said, I don't want to see another guy at the scene of an MVA or any other type of an incident without a tool in your hand, and preferably two, and preferably a set of irons or, an axe and a hook, or a Halligan and a hook, or something. I said, and now I comment all the time. When I go to MVAs, there'll be 3-4 guys. Everybody's got either an axe or a Halligan in their hand. I go to even a gas leak. We went to a gas leak the other night. I said, guys, if you're going into somebody's house, you got to be carrying something in with you. I got, the officer or the chief might have the gas detector. Everybody else should have a tool. We might have to pop a door. We might have to chock a door. We might have to make a hole in the wall. This odor might be a fire, and we have to go right to work. There's a lot of things that can happen. I remember you telling the story so many times about a company walking down a block, for a multiple alarm with no tools in their hands. Oh, we're going to see what you want us to do. We're going to go back and get the tools. I mean, I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. Could you imagine a cop getting out of the car, walking up to you, and he leaves his gun belt and his ticket book and his hat in the car? He comes up and says, okay, I just want to make sure you're going to stop now. Hold on, I'll be right back. And you run back to the car to get his ticket book. I mean, you could do 100 examples of that. A lather, can you imagine a guy building a house, leaves his hammer and everything else and his tool belt in the truck, and he goes up to the house on the construction? Okay, I'm ready to go to work, boss. All right, good. Help them guys with them beams. I got to run back to my truck, get my hammer. It just doesn't make any sense at all. There's no sense to it. And the point is, if somebody's asking you for your tool, either the tool they have doesn't work or they don't have a tool, in which case, like you said, this goes back to the brotherhood thing. I can remember doing this 100 times as a captain and a lieutenant, yelling in the smoke, hey, who's got a hook? I need a hook over here. And all of a sudden, out of the smoke comes some dirty ass fireman with his mustache all shitted up, and and he's got a hook. What do you need, boss? Right there. I need a hole right there. And all of a sudden, there's a hole. That's as easy as that. I mean, I don't know how much easier it could be.
Well, and I remember people like Chief Jack McCaslin. You've heard me talk about the legend, Chief Jack McCaslin, the South Side, and Chief Eddie Enright, and their thoughts on getting off the rig, ready to do battle, get off dressed, get off with your BA, Eddie sit with your BA on your back, get off. If you're not dragging hose, you're not ready to drag hose, and you're grabbing tools, don't show up empty handed. And all the years of teaching, John, all the years as an officer, I've always tried to push that because, and we've talked about this a lot, how competitive We both are, and I mean that in a good way, not the stupid, ridiculous competitiveness, but I want to be picked first. I want Chief Salka to pick me first. I want him to look around and go, well, obviously those guys came to work because they had their tools with them and they're ready to go. You mentioned that crew. That was at a third alarm fire. And I needed to relieve some companies. We still were fighting fire. And I called them. I called, I said, send me 2 engines and a truck from staging. And they walked all the way down the block without any gear on, not with their bunker pants, John. They had nothing on. And they come down, they go, what do you, Chief? I said, where's your stuff? They go, back in the rig. We figured we'd come down and ask you what you want. We'll go back and get it. I said, I'll tell you what, this is the story you're alluding to. I said, we got it. Why don't you guys go home? Really? Yeah, pick up, go home. All right. So they walked down, they got in the rig and they drove away. And I said, Lewis for command, go ahead and give me a 4th alarm. And their chief later asked me, about a week later, what happened? I said, because your guys they drove from your firehouse all the way, to a fire. Now that's going multiple alarms. They get called for an assignment. They walk down the block. They don't bring anything with them, let alone an address. And dude, really, you're asking me why I sent them home? What assignment could I give them that I feel confident they're even going to achieve? Now, John, do firefighters mess up? And young firefighters, young firefighters, that one time, forget to grab something, get off the rig. Usually one of your senior guys turns around and says what to him? I'm walking behind you and I didn't grab nothing. I'm your probie. And you see that and you tell me what? What do you tell me? Go back and do what?
Tools.
Yeah. Go back and grab something. What are you doing? No, go back. You're supposed to be carrying this. Or what seat were you in? Or even if you weren't in a seat, if you're in an apartment where, maybe you don't do necessarily the tool assignments per seat, because it depends on who's riding where. You and I've talked about that plenty of times where it's like, well, that's a discussion. You're on the way. Hey, John, what are you grabbing? I'll grab the iron. Like I did with Joe. What do you got? I'm gonna grab the irons. Okay, I'll grab the hooks.
Even if you do that when you get there, even if there's no tool assignments, that's fine. We know this place has only got my son Brian down there in North Charleston. He's the only guy in the crew compartment most of the time. Once in a while, there's another guy with him, but most of the time it's him. He doesn't have an assignment. He gets off the rig and the boss is going to have to put him on something. And he's going to have to grab the appropriate tool for it. But even if you just had 2 guys back there, you hop off the rig, say, Billy, I'll take the axe, you take the Halligan, or whatever. The thought should never be to walk away and let's figure out what we need later. You know what I'm saying? So, and that, look, here's a little crossover with like the senior man discussion we've had before. The more senior guys say, Billy, where you going? Grab something. Oh, okay, thanks, Tommy. And he grabs the hook and he gets reminded by the senior guy. The boss don't even have to tell him maybe, so.
Well, and this was, and I know, and look, I'm a firefighter where I'm helping out, I'm trying to do the best job I can for the chief. I got a great fire chief there, Chief Ryan Fetzer. We've got some pretty cool crews, John, just like your guys do. I mean, I looked the other night, I said, man, now's the time for our structure fire. I'm looking at retired guys, Air Force guys, Army, Forest Service people with, like the all-star crews, to put the 2 rigs on. And that actually ended up what happened. And I'm kind of like, well, that kind of seems presumptive on your part to think we're all just a bunch of jamokes, a bunch of useless, I just, and I told you this before, there's been a couple places I've went to where I've said, I know you're the big fish in the little pond, but if we took your fire department and stuck it in a Dallas-Fort Metroplex, you know what you'd be? You'd be just another fire department, so why don't you grow up a little bit and act a little more professionally, be ready, get dressed, do your job. And like you said, God, I've done it how many times? Come here, who's got a hook? Who's got a Halligan?
I gotta tell that story. I know we've told it before, and I've told it before.
I know which one. I was hoping you would.
Yeah, I'm going to tell a story about the 11 truck. I was in 11 truck. I was a young fireman in 11 truck. Oh gosh, when was that? 81, 82 or something
11 truck, busy place too.
11 truck in FDNY back then was. Yeah, sir, it was. It was a good place. And somehow I snuck in there. I quite frankly don't know how that happened. But anyway, I got in there. It was a great place. It's where I really do think I became a fireman. And great guys. Richie Bardo was the like the senior man on the ship. He was the chauffeur, the regular chauffeur. I worked with him most of the time. And great guy. Had all sorts of little quirks that he did. Man, oh man, like he would just I never saw him sitting down or laying down. He'd sit down and eat dinner, but never saw him. He'd be walking around all day and all night, just walking around the firehouse. And they said, if you want to drive him crazy, you go hide somewhere. Because I think his routine was he'd walk around and he'd see who was in the kitchen. Then he'd walk upstairs and look around, see who's here, who's there. And he like keeping count of everybody, So like taking it. And if he didn't see you, if he couldn't find you, then he really started looking for you, So one guy said, oh yeah, one time I went down to the basement and I went into the oil burner was in a room, but it wasn't a regular door. It was just like a metal door, but it didn't go to the floor. It was like a hatchway door. You had to climb up to get in. He said, I climbed up and went in there. I put a chair off to the side and I sat down. I'm reading a book just to see if he could find me. And I closed that metal door. He said, an hour and a half later, that door opened up and he stuck his head in and he found me. So anyway, Bardo was a great guy. Just passed away. He had MS and he got sick.
Oh.
He got sick bad. Yeah. And it upset me because he died and they didn't advertise it or let anybody know or nothing until after it was over. And I was so upset because I always said, no matter when it happens, I'll be at his wake. I'll be at his funeral, and I sort of get cheated out of it. I know that sounds silly, but I want to go pay my respects. Anyway, Richie Bardo was and he was a jokester as well. So here we are at a big job in probably a vacant old law tenement. There were a lot of vacants down there at the time. We had flyers out the gazoo, top floor, pulling ceilings and this and that. And it's crowded as always. We got plenty of staffing in the FDNY, so there was, of course, plenty of people up there. And also, he turns around and he said, like I said, yelling to the other room, hey, who's got a hook? Get over here. He turns around and says, hey, give me a hook. To me, he says, I turn around. He said, no, you, give me the hook. I said, no. What do you want done? Now, this is me with a year and a half on a job and him with however many he had, 18 years, let's say.
Right.
Give me the hook. I just got to pull something. I'll give it right back to you. I said, no, Rich, I'm good. I got it. I need to pull some ceilings myself. He says, too crowded in here. Give me the damn hook. So I relented and I gave him the hook. And he turns around and he goes, wing, and he wings it out the back window. There was no window or glass in the frames or anything. It was an old vacant building. It was just a big square opening. Wing right out the back window into the weed-filled yard. I'm like, oh, God. Now, immediately, as soon as it left his hand, I was embarrassed. He didn't do anything wrong. I did. That was my fault. Now what do I do? Down the floors, down the 6 stories, down the stairway, out the door in the front. Everybody's looking at me like, where are you going? Make a right-hand turn, down the alley, out in the backyard, find it. Luckily, it's not busted. Wooden handle hook. Walk all the way back up there. It was a great, 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 great lesson. I've told that story, I would have to say hundreds of times. It's just a great, and I'm not telling anybody here to throw tools out the windows. You hit somebody or something, you'd be in trouble. But what a great lesson it was for me. Don't give up your dang tool. Your tool is like your hand. It's an extension of you. Somebody wants something done and you got the hook. By all means, call for hooks. I got a hook right here. What do you need? And push your way through and push your way out. I got a hook. I got an axe. I got a halberd. I'm not saying it's some operation where a firefighter's trapped and they're down in a hole and you got to pass something down to them. That's a different story. I'm talking about typical routine interior structural fire operation where there's nothing dramatic going on. You got your tool. You're the one. And another thing is, who can afford to give up an episode of pulling ceilings or forcing a door or trimming a window? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you get to do that? I came to this fire too. I want to pull ceilings. That's my experience that I'm giving up if I give you the hook, So officers should as well pay attention to that and make that clear to their firefighters. The tool is an extension of yourself. You take care of that tool. You maintain them. You clean them after the run. You put the different color tape on them or the rope and the stuff on the handle. By all means, you should use it. You shouldn't be handing it off to somebody else.
Yeah, take care of your tools. Take pride in your tools. When that one chief made the comment about Chicago, you look at Timmy Olk or Gordon Nort's photos. The only time you see a Chicago firefighter without a tool in his hand is if he's the nozzleman dragging hose or going back to pick up. You can always go, okay, you look at the front piece and he or she's walking out to go grab some more hose or pick up because it says engine on the front. Every one of the truck guys is carrying something, and
boy, his pictures are great, aren't they?
Oh God, they're awesome.
I was just looking at a bunch today on Facebook. One is better than the next. Even just pictures of guys' faces and helmets and stuff at jobs. He's great
with tools in their hands. But and John, and I just want to kind of finish this one up with, again, I'm trying to do the best I can as a firefighter, right? I'm standing there with my crew waiting for an assignment, and I'm just going to go back to, you come and take my tool from me, and I give it to you. And then the chief turns around and says, okay, Wichita West, I need you to go inside and do this. And now I have nothing in my hands. And then I have to go find this guy that's got my, so I'm telling my captain, well, hang on with that assignment. I have to go find my tool and get it back for this guy before we go in. And this other chief's looking, probably going, why don't you, I just give you, what the hell are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm just saying to a lot of the young firefighters out there, just because the schoolyard bully shows up, a firefighter's a firefighter. I don't care where the hell you're from. We should be working together. We should have a common respect for each other, volunteer or career or whatever. And if we're fighting fires together, I think if somebody got jammed up, if somebody got trapped, I think we're going to go after them regardless of who they are, where they come from, what their helmet front says. That should work when it comes to tools, when it comes to working as a team. Stop working independently. Stop thinking you're the only show in town. Be part of the team. I have no place in my life, when it comes to fire service, for individuals. There's
no I in team, right? There's no letter I in team.
Well, and you know what? Part of that's a lead, and we said this. It's a leadership deal. That those are company officers who have bred that into their people, who have turned around, and these guys know their guys aren't bringing the right tools. They know that they're, and they know the attitude, and they hear the talk, and they hear it. And even the chiefs, right? What did Chief Brunacini, Alan Brunacini say? You can't shit up. You know what? You look at the leadership and you go, well, you can hang all the certifications you want on the wall and all those diplomas. When the rubber meets the road and we're out there fighting fires, doing our stuff, be ready, bring your tools with you, and let's get the job done. But just because you didn't bring the right tool, don't try to make me look like an ass, because you weren't prepared. So anyway, I'm glad I got that done. That's really been bothering me. I just
get that off your chest. Good.
I just, from a chief telling you that, we have no manners up in the north, but up in Chicago, I'm like, really? And then, like I said, the entertainment, John, was just watching people try to work, with their tools when, what little tool work they've had has just been bumbling around at a fire trying to do something, and the proof's in the pudding. So, and I'll end it with this one, John. I'm really hoping I run into this guy again one day, and he kind of comes up and gives you that half look like, all right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Just say, my bad. I should have had the right tool with me. And, I didn't mean to come across the wrong way. And hey, you know what do you do? You say, that's all right, buddy. Let's go have some fun and, go pull some ceiling, right?
It brings to mind another Brunacini saying, right? Be nice.
Be nice.
Just be nice. How easy it is to be nice. Hey, can I borrow your hook for a second? I'll help you. Come on, this way. Go. It could have almost been a positive experience. I said, boy, what a nice guy I met at a fire tonight,
It could have been one of those incidents where the next job, I'm looking for that guy going, hey, Tommy.
Right, you could have made a new friend instead of a
what's
new
going
enemy.
on? Come on, let's go get this thing instead of, but the choice is yours. Or you can play nice, or you can be arrogant and think you're all that.
Absolutely.
So, all right, buddy. Well, hey, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Chief John Salka at gmail.com.
And I'm Chief Lasky at gmail.com. And we appreciate you listening again. Spread the word about Old School and about what we're trying to do here. We're just John and I kicking back with no agenda, no script, as you can tell, having fun talking and visiting. If you're looking for any classes, get a hold of us now, because man, oh man, between how about it, John, between the new stuff and rebooking all the stuff because of COVID, the schedules
and
are
the vaccine and the COVID plummeting and all sorts of stuff. I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's coming around the corner. Things are going to start opening up again, and hopefully we'll be back on the road.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen sooner. So give us a call, give us a shout if you're looking for anything. In closing,
and one more thing.
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
One more thing. And hang on to your tools. Hang on to your tools.
Hey, in closing, we always ask you to please keep the men and women serving our armed forces in your thoughts and prayers. And as well, we mention this as much as we can as well, our brothers and sisters in our law enforcement family. Remember, never forgetting means never forgetting. Be safe. God bless you. And thanks for listening again.